Gentlemen, welcome to the light. I'm Jake. I'm very excited to be here talking to you again. Thanks to the subscribers as well who've been hanging on there. I really appreciate you subscribing to my channel. I'm happy to be talking to you again. Whatever you've been up to, wherever you are, I hope that you're happy, healthy, safe, and prospering. I know in my last video I kind of voiced and aired out some frustrations even with the engagement. I just felt like I would pose questions like saying, what do you think about cryptocurrency? What do you think about the blockchain? And I just wasn't getting any feedback. No one seemed to be hearing the questions even or answering them. Nobody seemed to care. And one of the last videos that I produced was a very serious video, something I take seriously, about a giant multinational agrochemical conglomerate, Bayer and Monsanto, that's doing some scary, evil stuff. A company with deep Nazi roots and a deep, dark history, and I talked about that in multiple videos, especially one of my last ones. Put a lot of work into that, and it didn't get a lot of engagement. Nobody seemed to care, unfortunately. And so, I just felt like I had the wind taken out of me. I felt like no one cared, but I've been thinking about making a video again for a while, and I thought that I'd come back here and get on it because I was feeling it. And I'm excited to be talking to you. I have kind of a new format I'm going to do. I'm going to do kind of like one news story talking about something that I am interested in, something that I'm seeing in the news. I'm going to talk about macroeconomics. Second and third, cover those stocks, those stocks, and the cryptocurrency market as well, something I'm going to cover. So number 3 is going to be the stocks and cryptocurrencies that I'm looking at for the day. Today, I'm going to talk about what I was hearing on Yahoo News. There was an interesting one-on-one with former President Trump. He's talking about Operation Warp Speed, his signing off of the emergency use authorization to proceed to create and administer these COVID-19 vaccines that are experimental, and that is one of the more positive takeaways from his administration, is this experimental emergency use authorization for these COVID vaccines. He said that he got the shot, the Pfizer shot. He's happy with it. He says he's very healthy. He also says that he sees no need for a booster, that he's not interested in it. He also seemed to say that he thinks that people should have their freedoms and choice about it. They shouldn't be pushed into getting it. That he didn't really sound very happy about mandates and things like that, but he also didn't speak out much against it. And he did say, however, that there was a mad rush of people going to get the vaccines when he was the president, and that now there's a lot of hesitancy due to a distrust of the current administration with President Biden. And there might be a lot of truth to that, actually, just looking at what's going on right now. He blames a lot of this hesitancy on distrust for the Biden administration and hypocrisy in the statements made by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris running in 2020. President Biden promised no vaccine mandates. He promised no mask mandates even. He promised no mandates. And Kamala Harris and President Biden both said that they were very hesitant about the vaccine, that they wouldn't rush to take it. Kamala Harris even made some very partisan comments, just saying she wasn't going to take it because it was a Trump vaccine, just saying she just wouldn't take it because of that, period. But they also lied to their constituents. It was a big lie, saying there would be no mandate, and now turning a more authoritarian kind of angle, while we see people being brutalized in Australia over COVID-19 lockdowns. People in Australia and New Zealand have been in a perpetual lockdown with their leaders basically saying there's no end in sight. Those people are scared, they're worried, and there's some serious police brutality. You can see that happening in Australia, the police brutalizing people that are protesting against the lockdowns. And, we can't have that in this country. It's something to worry about. And it's a shame that this administration has completely turned this authoritarian corner, now using Operation Warp Speed that was signed off by Trump to shame and coerce a large number of people who were hesitant about the vaccine, presumably a large population of the Biden-Harris voter base, in fact. People that heard Kamala Harris's statements and heard Joe Biden's promise not to mandate, and who that resonated with. People who believed them and voted for them. And now people are seeing that they were lied to. But there is also some hope, because there's new emergency use authorization drugs being created, with Pfizer and Merck creating oral anti-COVID pills. They're on emergency use authorization, and it's interesting that they actually use the same active ingredient, according to both companies, as another drug that's been found to treat COVID but has been discredited, ivermectin, that everyone's calling horse paste, and just talking all kinds of junk about ivermectin. Ivermectin is a Nobel Prize winning medicine, and it has been shown to work, and now they're using that same active ingredient to create what I'm going to call ivermectin and Pfizermectin. They're emergency use authorization drugs that are going to be more expensive than ivermectin. And Merck already makes ivermectin, but they discredited it so that they could make this new drug on emergency use authorization. It seems like a bit of a conflict of interest there, but whatever. We seem to have blown by all of that, and it does have some good data showing that this treatment for people that were at risk of death from COVID, and that really at-risk population, a nice reduction of 50% in the chance of death or hospitalization. So for people who were in that small percentage of folks who are very at risk of dying if they get COVID, they're half as likely to die or go to the hospital if they get this drug twice daily for 5 days. That's a great data point there. So that's pretty cool. And there's some new hope that maybe the vaccines aren't going to work, especially with the Delta variant, which is scaring the heck out of everyone, slipping through vaccines. But maybe the treatment will be the thing that gets us through this to the other side. And it is basically horse paste rebranded with the same active ingredient, but it's just good to see them making treatments instead of focusing on the vaccines, which so far haven't shown a great improvement in death rates or transmission of COVID-19, especially in the United States. And unfortunately, that's just what we're seeing based on data. But going forward, we're going to be watching for a winter wave in November, December. And I pray to God that we don't see a serious winter wave, but that's what everyone's saying to worry about. That statistically, that's when the disease is going to be, hitting us. And when we're going to see a large amount of transmission and death with the infection of COVID-19, it's going to be this winter wave. That's when it happened last year. So we're going to be watching, and if we see a big winter wave again, especially with the vaccines already rolled out, it's going to put a big damper on the economy and have some severe consequences. But we'll be watching the market. And I mean, the big pharma COVID mafia of Pfizer, Moderna, and now Merck, they've all been skyrocketing, have been excellent investments over the last year. So if you invested in those, good for you. Been some of the best performing stocks since 2020 and 2021. So I hope that you're getting some gains there if you bought those stocks. While most of the market has floundered and struggled, it's starting to bounce back and showing some strength, which I'm liking to see. But cannabis legalization has been thrown to the wayside. COVID's completely destroyed any chance of that happening, but we might see some form of legislation if there's an economic rebound and recovery. I could see cannabis legislation being something that gets brought in with the Democrats in power in all three branches of government. And we'll be watching with this new infrastructure stimulus, as well as the debt ceiling being raised, averting government shutdown. We'll be watching for a nice economic recovery. I think with this stimulus as well, the infrastructure package, we should watch energy, technology, also maybe cannabis in a reopening scenario. But we'll also be watching cryptocurrency. But I think that what they're talking about in Yahoo, they're talking about this as Biden light, is what they're saying in Yahoo Finance, saying, hopefully there's no $700,000 fines for businesses that don't want to mandate the vaccine for all their employees. That would be pretty nasty and gnarly and could actually damage the economy. Hopefully we don't see that forced mandate with fines on businesses, making that imposition. Hopefully we don't see a lot of waste. Maybe we won't see this big $40 billion package to the IRS to increase the number of audits that they perform. Audits which disproportionately affect low and middle income Americans. That would be bad. I don't want to see that, but we want to see that infrastructure, and we want to see that human infrastructure as well. We want that paid family leave for Americans. We want to see that. We want to see this administration with President Biden follow through on that promise. He might have lied about the mandates, but let's see him follow through on that promise to take care of the everyday American family, to take care of these people. That'd be a first in America, and it'd be incredible to see paid family leave in America. So I'm hoping that this passes, even if it's Biden light, as they're calling it. It's going to be one of the biggest infrastructure bills ever passed, ever, in the history of this country. Possibly the biggest, even if it's a light version. And we're going to watch the new energy infrastructure coming up there with hydrogen energy, a big, big thing. I'm watching COWI changing their name to Carbon Meta. That's a penny stock that I'm watching. I'm big in that one. They want to take waste plastic and turn it into hydrogen energy fuel, which is amazing. Also watching New Hydrogen, which was one of my favorite plays from last year. New Hydrogen and Ferroglobe PLC, their partner, working on a new patent for a silicon anode electric vehicle battery, or battery for consumer electronics. Also now using that kind of materials technology research to try to create hydrogen electrolyzers that turn water to hydrogen energy, and that'd be amazing. That's going to be also a technology that helps us go to space as a human race, so that's amazing. We like those stocks. I also like electric aviation and eVTOLs. And next video, I'm going to talk about eVTOLs and some cool SPACs that I'm looking at there. We're also looking at solar and wind energy, going to be a huge boon to our energy economy with renewable energy. So we're watching Rolls-Royce, RYCEY. We're watching also Ford, who's going to be the nation's biggest manufacturer of electric vehicles and soon to be the biggest manufacturer of electric vehicle batteries with this massive plant they're building in Stanton. Huge. I saw the Ford CEO talking on Yahoo Finance, and very encouraging talk from him. He's very bullish on EV, and we're also watching Maxion Solar and other companies in renewable energy. Watching Brooksfield Renewable Energy Partners, that's a renewable energy REIT, and others. And we're going to watch for that reopening trade round 2. Maybe even with some cannabis legalization sprinkled in there. We'll see. But I'm going to be watching BlackBerry, Global Star. We're going to be watching cryptocurrency companies as well, like CleanSpark, with software for microgrids, and that kind of branches even into the cryptocurrency mining with their kind of side hustle. Watching MetaMaterials as well. Going to watch a company called AppSwarm that's kind of working with SpaceX with their subsidiary Tulsa Labs on the SpaceX Moon project, and Dogecoin. We're going to watch all those. We're going to watch the cannabis plays, Weed Maps, Aurora Cannabis. Still going to watch Hemp Inc., even though it's been an absolute failure. I want to address that too. Kind of a scam. I'm disappointed. I took a big loss there, big failure. And I know a lot of it's due to COVID, but the Hempathon is a no-go. There's been no progress at Kingman, Arizona since I went there. It's just awful. Really crooked, in fact, by Bruce Perlow, and just diluting shareholders, taking a lot of money and not following through on anything. But he's kind of been booted from the company. He's no longer CEO. And despite that absolute failure to execute with the company, he is a visionary in the cannabis and hemp space. And to see his vision come to fruition through some materialization, whether it's Hemp Inc. or another company, would be amazing. And I am very passionate about that. So I'm going to keep on watching that and see if maybe we see some progress with industrial hemp and cannabis as well. And Hemp Inc. trading at like 1/3 of a penny per share. Not really an investable thing, but we'll see what happens. I'll follow them. And Zynerba Pharmaceuticals, one of my favorite plays, a company that I'm going to cover deeply that I've talked about before, making a CBD transdermal gel for children with severe developmental disorders. That is just an amazing, amazing company. And so we're going to watch all that. But also inflation is coming. And so we're going to be watching cryptocurrency as something that's just completely new still. And crypto is coming up. We see El Salvador. They have even a volcano geothermal Bitcoin mining operation going, and they've basically online blockchain and cryptocurrency with Bitcoin as their national tender. The SEC in America says they got no plans on banning cryptocurrency at all, and there's probably a new Bitcoin ETF coming to institutional investors that's going to boost the price of Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market, so that'll be cool. We're watching Mr. Gox, the little hamster who's running around making cryptocurrency trades, outperforming the market, so we'll follow that story as well with Mr. Gox. And I'm even watching Shiba Inu, basically the knockoff Ethereum Dogecoin, but something that I think has a lot of potential. It's kind of become everything that Dogecoin needed to be according to developers with the Ethereum bridge, NFTs, cap supply. A lot of developments are happening there. They're the only cryptocurrency followed by Coinbase. So we might see SHIB to the moon. Who knows? And you know, what about Dogecoin? We'll keep following them too there with the Elon Musk connection. You know, and what about the short squeeze? We'll watch Meta Materials, BlackBerry, AMC, GameStop. We'll see what's going on with the short squeeze, and I'm going to talk a lot about that in the next video too. Talk about how the little guys, the retail investors, are ganging up using these new investing apps and fighting against the big hedge funds as well. A big story. And you know, there's a lot of negative headwinds, a lot of negative backdrop on the economy right now, but October 1st is manufacturing day, and we might see some great stuff in Q4 for the economy. You know, we might even see that supply chain bottleneck open up. We might really see some good data. And I'm praying to God for good things to happen. I'm very hopeful, even despite the negative backdrop for the economy, that we're going to see some good stuff, and there's a lot to cover. And so I'm excited to be here back with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you that are subscribed, thank you. If you're new, please do subscribe to the channel. I'll be getting back to you, talking about some of that awesome stuff and more in the next video next week. It's a pleasure talking to you today. This is The Light, and I will see you in the next video.